Hi, Inez Simpson here, and I'm in Hamburg. And I said on Hypnosis Everywhere last night that I would be making a new video on the Self Hypnosis site because so many of you after Hypnosis Everywhere on Voice America have been signing up that I really needed to update it. So here I am, and I'm beautiful weather here, about 27 degrees or something, and I have a German assistant. And he's being very quiet, or she's being very quiet. She won't like that. And she's a princess. Her name is Prada, and she's a Jack Russell. So if you hear some yips, she's just giving us a hand. Anyway, let's just talk about self-hypnosis first. I want to talk about what it is and what it isn't. So what it isn't is that you're going to be in some kind of Zen state. What it isn't is that you are totally different and things have changed and you are now somewhere in another realm. It is not a spell. It is none of those things. What it is close your eyes, feel relaxed. That's self-hypnosis. The expectation of what self-hypnosis is not that you can do anything in that state except allow yourself to change. There's nothing about, people think, well, because they know I'm known for the Esdale level and I know all this and that I can create catalepsy in people. You cannot do any of those things in self-hypnosis because you feel just normal in self-hypnosis. People that I test that are in Esdale will just feel like they're just relaxed. When I put their body into catalepsy, it just shows them, their conscious mind, that they're there. That's all it does. There is nothing. We can use that state for all kinds of things. But in self-hypnosis right now, most of you are just going into what we call somnambulism, and you're going into a nice level of somnambulism. You are just going to feel relaxed. That's probably it. Sometimes if you're by yourself, you may drift off and on and go and not notice things if you're listening to a CD or something, or one of the modules or whatever. But you are never totally gone unless you get really good at self-hypnosis, because if you go into that place where you totally disappear, you guys are good. So that's it. You're not asleep. You're never asleep in self-hypnosis. So now, what's the point of being in that relaxed somnambulistic state? It means that you can accept suggestion for the change that you want. Now, remember that the definition of hypnosis is the bypass of the critical factor, and the acceptance of acceptable suggestion means that if it isn't good for you, or you don't even feel neutral about it, unless you really want it, it's not going to be accepted. So when you listen to the CDs, go in with the intention, or the modules, go in with the intention, yes, I want this. And then it'll happen for you. Now, self-hypnosis is not a panacea, but it works. The more often you do it, the better things get. I know I told this story before, and I don't know where it is. It might even be on the last video. But when I started doing hypnosis or learning hypnosis, I was starting to do self-hypnosis. Within that time period of about, 8-10 months, I don't even know how long it was because it just disappeared. I had suffered from chronic pain since I was 14, and I suddenly felt totally comfortable, and I'd even forgotten I had it because that's the way the mind works. So it had to be drawn to my attention that things were different. So many times you will not notice a difference, but other people will. So if you know that I'm no longer in pain, but it just seems normal to me because that is the new me. When you become the new you all the time, you're always just you. So stop analyzing things to death. See if you can just allow it to happen and just let it do its work. The more you analyze with your conscious mind, you're using the wrong part of your mind. The wrong part of your mind that cannot achieve things is what you're utilizing. I think there's a saying, and I don't know if it was Einstein, it might have been Prada for all I know, but it was that if you use the same thing that got you into a situation, that was still getting you into the situation and never getting you out. So stop using that conscious analytical part of you. Let it go. The more you go into self-hypnosis, which is that other part of you that can actually do something about the change, the more you restrict it if you allow your conscious thinking to start taking the first position again. You want the subconscious to be in first position. And the part that, if I say something to you in just a conscious state, Martin, do this. He probably won't do it, but besides that, it doesn't have the same impact. If he is in somnambulism and I say, allow yourself to do this, he'll do it. So there's a different state, and that's what you're wanting to attain. That's the whole reason you're going into self-hypnosis. But if you use the conscious all the time, it's what got you there in that anxiety state or lack of sleep or whatever it is. So stop using the conscious to try to fix it. All right. So I know I'm lecturing you here a little bit, but it's sometimes needed. So getting back to the topic about this site and self-hypnosis. Now, there's all this free section of the second, and there's a module that tells you how to use it and how to implement it. There's a second section of this website that's for what we call SP people, Simpson protocol trained people who already have triggers to go into a little further, deeper hypnosis. So those are not free and it's not accessible to you necessarily. But the rest of the site is totally free. Use it to your heart's content. Many people have been getting great outcomes. Now, I suggest, and it's only a suggestion because you're in charge, is that you use what we call that first module, the ego strengthener, and listen to it. Also, when you are doing change work, don't jump from one thing to another. You need to compound what you're doing. So listen to just one thing for more times. They say 21 days to change a habit. But it's not just that. It's how many times you go into hypnosis, how many times you change it. The more often you'll do it, if you did it twice a day, then it would take this long, if it was this in general. So just stick to one aspect of change at a time. And in general, that ego strengthener, as we call it, it's about building up your confidence, building up who you are, so that you are a much stronger human being to deal with what life gives you. So for me, I always think that's the best place to start. So if there's any more questions, you can email us, you can ask. And there's also another piece on this that is also not free, but I'll tell you about it anyway. It's mostly for the SP people, but regular people could use it too, but it's shamanic journeys and it's an entirely different thing. So you go on a journey and it's done with a shaman friend of mine. It involves drums and rattles and and me telling you where to go in the journey. So if you're interested in that style of thing, you can access that, but it's not on the free part of the site. So thanks, and I think that's enough for today. And just ask us. I love that you're utilizing this site. I love how many people are using it and getting benefit. Thanks.